Shakti. Chapter 6. Continue. Yogina entering into the decline of agitation of eclipse and eclipsehood of moon and sun, if worships and contemplates even if for a moment attains salvation. The loss of date is said to be Na and Kasha. The growth of date Tithi is known as Nishvasana and Hana. All these take place effortlessly and Rodhana. Hence, when the vital force enters into the heart, the sun of consciousness fulfills the moon of nectar with the Buddha Shukas respectively. These 15 tutis full of beauty and nectar of moon, which grows to be full respectively, are the 15 days of white face, Shukla Paksha. In the last tuti, moon is full as usual. For the reason of early entry, moon eclipse take place in Pratipat Samkhya. Yoginas get worldly or great fruits if they do spiritual fruit function in this period of eclipse. Rest of things are same as usual. This is months. Now we explain here in Pranachara. Sun treats 6 months as Magha by staying in Makara from heart with 36 fingers, and that is called Uttarayana. After passing the 3 Sankranti, Makara, Kumbha and Mina, when the sun attains measure by liberating itself with 18 fingers, it turns into Vishvat supramundane auspicious period. This is Vishvat when sun enters into Tuva. This gives worldly fruit, so it moves towards Dakshinayana. Pregnancy, Udbhava, birth, existence, maturity, enhancement, decay and decline, this is Makara respectively. Therefore here action gives some fruit. In the supramundane action, Makara and Kumbha are homely. Before hymns, Mina, 4 stars, are homely at interaction. Rose out of this is more closer and beneficial. At the time of entrance, worldly action take place like peace, fulfillment in the same stars, and this give fruits to a long period of life. This increase a day in the exaltation of vital force and in decline in contrast. In this year there exist 5 dates. This is Krama. Acharatra is a Vidhi, even in that rest is as usual. In this vital year there exist 12 Rudras, are to be described further, in Kartika from Daksha to Pitamaha. It is said there is a rising of year in the vital force. Now the rising of 12 years is to be said. There exist 60 days respectively in each finger. The Chaitra are said to be 12 in the rising of 12 years. Mantra arise in Chaitra, and that arise from palate. And if now the rising of Chaitra is in the heart is being described, naturally mantra too rise from there. There exists 1 year in which 1 finger and 60 years in prana vital force, by imagining 300 dates in each finger with 5th portion. In this pranachara and the inhalation and exhaltation, it is said that there exists a haratra of 60 years, which is 21,600 vibhagas. Time, day, night, month, season, year and dusk, ended in 60 years, are considered as beneficial in contemplation and worship. Thus, the external form of Vishwa Atma existed within body full of time, Kala, and power arising of vital force. 6 vital force are equal to 1 Chashaka, is 60 equals to 1 nerve. This nerve equal to 1 date, and that 30 equal to 1 Masha. That will equal to 1 year. According to Tarayana and Dakshinayana, 1 year is 1 day and night of Ancestus. According to the measurement of Ancestus is called one auspicious year. In that exists 360 years of human beings. By dividing that by 12 we get the number of months. That one when is divided by 30 should be total while dividing 200 600. A rising of year depends on that vital number divided by 60. This is said in Raurava by the teachers that one Aharatra of the male deities is 1 year of human beings. The 360 years of human are divine year, 1 divine year. This concept is also mentioned in Swachananda Tantra. That is 1 day and night of the ancestors, such as the Aharatra of the deities, is to be concluded here. The 2 verses of Swachananda Tantra are unnecessarily elusive. This is 1 year of ancestor teaches is 1 day of the male deities. The divine 12,000 years are described in eras by the laws of each one, and starting with 4. There are 8 Sankhyas in the same 100. 71 Chaturga Yuga equal to 1 Manvantara. Brahmans 1 day equates with 14 Manvantaras. In that exists 14 Indras respectively. At the end of the day of Brahma, Kavagni burns all 3 worlds by its own Vakyojana flame and fulfills the other 3 worlds with the smoke. Since the first appearance of Kavagni is out of hell, so they are 2 gods who stay downwards, for they are Vibhu. That is the concept of Raurava Adam. When the ashes are thrown by the exhalation of Brahmani, this world assimilated with the water of that vapor stays in the arriving time of night. In that period of night, all the creatures, individual souls, live in the form of Prakyavali in the human world, being penetrated by the force of fire in the subtle bodies. They play in the great world like Kushmanda Hataka. After passing the night, Brahma creates Tamasi that truth again. At the end of these 100 years, there happens death of this Brahma the creator. This is 1 day of Vishnu, and 100 Rudras diminish at the end of each 100 years by the absence of the scoturn, thumbs, eggs respectively. Similarly, from water to an expressive principle, there are vibhaga of days and nights by the 100 measurement of 100 years of each age respectively. 1 day of Rudras is equal to 36,000 dissolution of Brahma in time of creation present in an expressed and same nights in numbers. At the time only Lord God Shrikanha is just destroyed. Then all Rudras stay with the Shrikanha in the root nature called Avyakta, unmanifested. These Rudras are able to stay in the wombs from Brahma to Maya. Brahma, who ends and downward activities of intellect, does not become the enjoyer. After being knowledgeable, he attains the state of Shiva by renouncing the right. This is his Avantara Laya. When it ceases, creation takes place. According to Sankhya, Lord Shrikanha creates again the liberated soul from the beginning of the day. Therefore, the kind of liberation is not right liberation. The 100 years, which is made up of the days and nights of main principle, is the age of Shrikanha, and it is 1 day for those who live in covering. These coverings are Niyati, Kava, Raga, Vidya and Kava respectively, and these are lost in one another. The age equals to 1 day of Ganesha. On the decay of the days, the world assimilates in Maya. Ganesha creates again when the same long night passes away. Thus, when we multiply the unexpressed time by 10 parts, we get the same long day and night of Maya. This is Pravaya. The time of Maya, when it is multiplied by 100 parts, becomes 1 day of good. The Nada dwells in it as vital force trades the world. The vital force rests in the same long, godly night. The world existed in the womb of vital force, get rest to the vital force, prana, in the Brahmarandra through Sushumna, culminates in tranquility. Then only its Shuddha Vidya remains. The right happens subtle and subtly lie in the form of Ashmamshi. When the period of Ishvara is multiplied by 100 Pararatha, it turns into 1 day of Sadashiva. This is Mahapravaya. Sadashiva at the end of this period becomes absorbed in the Nada, with the Chara by terrifying Bindu, Arha Chandra and Rohini. Neither two gets absorbed in the principle of powers. When a spirit goes decay in it by the tendency on Adanta penetrates Brahma Bila. One should understand day and night in the Shakti Tattva. Shakti gets absorbed in Vyapini when its time goes decay. With Vyapini its day and night also go absorbed. She assimilates in the independent Shiva too. The time of Shakti when multiplies by Pararatha Koti tones, one day and one night of independent Shiva. And when this time is multiplied by Pararatha, there exists a state of Samana, called Samya, in which Shiva gets absorbed. That period Kala is named Samya, eternal, and having the form Om Kalahina Kalashakti, devoid of aspect, power of aspect. That which is its form of Samana is Samya, and Brahma spans throughout the world. Therefore, so the start and dissolution of world process, the same creates from Tuti to Pararatha present in it. Thus one should say Dasha, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 10 lakhs, crore, Ninkharva, Sankhya, Abja, Javad, Hirin, Paratka. That means that like from 1 to each multiplied by 10 respectively, the state of 18 phase from 1 to Pararatha. These four establishing in Prithvi nature, Maya and Shakti power, and the main Pravaya and Srishti dissolution and creation. The aspect of these are the four seeds as eggs. In the part of is, Kavagni is destroyer. In the part of Maya, Kavatattva is red. In the part of root nature, Shikankha is the doer of creation and destruction. Shimana Guru is the creator and destroyer of part of power, who maintains the creation and destruction of the harmony among East, nature and Maya. Because in creation of that power numerous creation and destruction of the world are involved, so the creation of power is regarded as a great creation. At the time of dissolution, all these Brahma, Vishnu and 140 Rudras get the harmony in paths which with the end of Maya mutually, and they attain the state of absolute when Maya principle get harmony. They who stay in the pure path beyond Maya get harmony with the absolute. Even in that it harmonized people consider it as divergence. Hence, when the group of Tattveshwara absorbs in the Paratattva, again the aspirant on creation attains as an individual soul the state of Shiva. Brahma is the name of power of the Lord, drops this power, turns into Brahman. In the same order by dint of the power of Vaishnavi, Vishnu, Rudra appear. Why does the power go to Adi by living Shaktimana? That is not so. The own power Shakti of the Bhagavan Shiva disappears somewhere and appears somewhere else. Thus creation and dissolution are established in the vital force. That force is established in the supreme consciousness, and supreme consciousness is established in the pure consciousness, devoid of the knowable. That Parameshwari deity is Chinmatra herself. That is 38 principle and is Parapara heart too. Therefore there is supreme consciousness which is naturally full of slope and Udaya creation of vital force. So it is said about the creation of 60 years in the vital force. The practice of amazing function is established on desire. This is our outward power of Kava. That is why the sensual nature is not certain. The part of time, Kavamsha, so limited in the self-consciousness of awakened dream, deep sleep, wishing topics concentration in the order of creation and dissolution of the world reflects widely. Thus, Kava appears in the Apana, expanded from heart to Muladhara, like it appears in the Prana by the amazing power of Kriya. The Yogini understands the contraction and expansion of Mahapitha Shakti, name it Muladhara, and also the creation and dissolution from Brahma to independent Shiva. So this apana that flows continuously, yet it is difficult to approach, worshipped by the yoginas effortfully. From Brahma stays in the heart, Kanda, Ananda, Sankosha, Vikasha, contraction and expansion, and Vadashanta to independent Shiva, all deities are worshipped by the good yoginas. They take body to being worldwide due to the power of the Lord. So this body has reasons as told in Kamika. In the period of childhood, adolescence, old age, death, rebirth and liberation, there exist 6 living deities as Brahma in the body. At the end of that, there remains Paradevi, where the disciple is not guided by his teacher. Simply by knowing this, the yogina becomes the bestower of grace full of initiation. Because by knowing fully all the place of joy of all cause, which is the cause of world, the yogina knows that causeless Shiva. That is, the Adhovatra destroys completely the dual dark spot. By worshipping there is a pretension of upward and downward ruins. One should make arrangement from 20 to the arrival of 60 years in the appearance of Apana, according to previous Angula Vibhaga. The same process is in Samana, that is considered as of 10 forms, moves everywhere in the nerves of heart. This Samana vital force is existed in balance by fulfilling 10 main nerves and scaring the dependent nerves of the other existing nerves in that. This seems aggressive and polite by moving around thus following the load of respective direction. That is existed by moving in 3 main nerves among day, night and meets, which are moon, sun and fire itself. This vital force moves 900 times in 1 year, in 1 hour. This continues to move 24 times by moving in 1 day and night. Thus does 5 Sankrantis on the day on Mesha Sankranti, in the morning in the Samshana, first in left and right in the Sushumna, and then in north and south. Hand it vibrates 900 times in the 14 north, minus its 1/4 in the midst of South Mediterranean. This south again does 5 Sankrantis by the help of north, then south, then north, and then again south. After that, in the north of Mediterranean, it does 900 Sankranti in each one. After the end of 5 Sankrantis outside the Mediterranean, 900 Prana Sankranti takes place inside as taking place in the outside. Similarly, vital force vibrates in the night too. It starts from Shama Vishvu, day, in the growth and decay of day and night, and it moves with Samana in Sankranti too. Thus appears Vishwad from north with the end of night, first part of day, midday, start of night and midnight. Since the inner meaning of Dhatu is a white and this is whiteness is called Sanya. The time able to that is called Vishwad here. The decay and growth of Sankrantis take place in day and night according to the order of decay, and growth happen from Vishwad to day and night. Thus there is an imagination of 2 years of vital force, Samana. The transmission of it take place at one place. Here no space is there of inhalation and exhalation. Calculation is made in the Samana vital force to till 60 years before Tuti. This calculation takes place in 1 and 4 is considered by the scholars, for it is too subtle. Dusk, dawn, noon, midnight, all this should be understood by the inner Sankranti. It's important for it gives result. The time related to Samana is described. Now the time regarding Udana is being described. That which is said about the expansion of vital force is the same about Udana. Here Brahmarana and Udhvabhava should be taking place of Nasa Sankhtyanta only. So, in Udana, one should concentrate from heart to Mutkaya Vadashanta and from 20 to total period of 60 years. In Vyana, which is explained in the world and is devoid of order, only the subtlest time in the form of vibration is arranged. It is said that since creation, dissolution maintains veiling of self and grace as the appearance of vital force. so one should concentrate over each state. The appearance of Varna, Pada and Mantra is established in the Pranachaya. These are called Yatnaja, Ayatnaja, Sukshma, Para and Skhula. Nadatmaka Varna is one in which all the syllables are existing without vibha. It is ever appearing in this world fluid, unstuck and having the form of unending. She is the Bhairava Sadbhava and she is Matrika Sadbhava. She is that Para Ekakshara deity with the similate Chara and Achara. There exist 3 small letters which each Ravi fingers, and in the entrance of vital force others also consist of 12 finger force. These 6 letters move on the path of sun and moon respectively. By the junction of Ukara and or Ikara with the start of Ukara, they form 2 joined letters Ye and O. And the entrance A-E and A-U are considered as 2 joined letters. In the entrance of vital force there arise Shanta letters in Dvadashanta, and for Hitwe as Bindu and Visarga exist in the throat and heart everywhere. 5 letters as Ka are ever rising within the initial letter A. Similarly, in the Sasthana letters arise the letter offsprings. This Sakara, which is the life force and vital force, arises in the heart and harm. Form of Bindu is existed in everywhere, for it is a form of light. There has been said the Para Udaya of letters. Now the Sato is being said. Except Shanta letters, there arise 16 letters in Pravisha and 12 letters in Mukhya. These are moon and sun where other letters arise. This is Sato arising, Sukshma Udaya. The period of 33 letters like Ka is called as of half matra. There are 5 small letters, 8 capital letters consist of 2 matras and Plut consists of 3 matras. Ri is not capital but Pluta. My teacher have said that the numbers of half letters are 81. The Matanga Tantra deity Shivatmika Shakti is said as 81 padas, because Shiva is the collision of same religion. The Lord Parameshwara is considered as a god Ishvara of Parama Shakti Chakra, by the way of rising Paramasha from gross 81 pada. Therefore it is said 1 pada where 1 Paramasha completes, notice constituted by Sap and Singh. The order of generous awareness of 81 padas is extended. This grossly means when turns into lion is called Parapaya. The 81 steps appear when 36 half matras construct themselves by managing each 9 half matra in the space of 4 angulas. By dividing 1 angula into 9 parts we get Vedam of 9th part which is half matra. Rest 3 consists of other 9 parts having 2, 4 and 6 times. Thus the double of 4 having 9 parts of 1 angula is Vakhu Dirha and Puta consist of 2 and 3 times respectively, whereas the half of Vakhu is How. The half matras of Shakara. 1 is the matrika in the middle. Due to the rest in the midst, it consists of half syllable. It increases with 84 syllables when is added by 81. It becomes half syllable when half finger is divided by 7. Shakara is receptive and movable due to all attributes. It takes part in rising and diminishing of all letters, also in the rise of Sankhya of all ends due to being Vibhu. Thus regularized letters in the 36-4 of vital force. Its result is cruel and modest. It rises from the Hakara till end of construct. Akara rises in the heart and Hakara in Dvadashanta. It regarded as non-dual egocentric, which is a state of self-rest of light. These 81 syllables move double in 72 fingers, for this is not the Vibhaga of Shiva and Shakti. There are 3 kinds of subtle rising as said. There are said 2 kinds of paradaya. Now the gross rising of letters is being described, as is said by the teacher. There rise 8 groups by the measurement of each half period of the day. Some consider the decay and grow in the night. The rising of this group is due to the half period in the day and night. More than 50 in 1350 pranachara consist of one group in Sankranti night and day. When it is in the round finger 1 in ununited mode, there arise 2700 pranacharas. According to those who consider 9 groups, 1200 vital force are equal to 4 each group. Sankranti is taught is each group with its third portion of 900 in night and day. By ending this, Shruti Chakshusha turns into 2400 vital force. That is gross rising group. Now the rise of Varna is explained. There are 216 pranachara vital force by the rising of each Varna. From outside, 36 dwell in day and same dwell in the night. In that there are 108 Raudra, and after that Shakta persists. In the coupling stage there remains no group of Rudra and Shakti. On the summation of day and night there become 432 pranacharas with Drik, Vahni and Abdhi. Outwardly it is said that the rising period of Varna is the 5th portion of the one Nadi. Thus, the 50 matikas of letters have been explained. Those who consider this as 49 are being said. There is more in one letter as for vital force from 5th portion of the half. Adding day and night we get more than its double. Hence, this is gross rising of letter. The subtle is already told. Hence, Siddha Kala Tattva is told by the oral tradition of the scripture, and from my own experience. Thus ends the 6th chapter. Chapter 7. Now the rising of chakra is being said, which is absolutely mystical. This and at Ayant Naja is said. Now Yat Naja is being said. The entire collective hymns of Siddh matter becomes a means in the relation to the Supreme Consciousness by penetrating the throat of it. That's why the description is present. As the conductor attached with a small basket at the top of the Hatha chakra rises into the amazing device systematically, so the constant rising of hymns by the searching power gives joy and please the deity of the hymn in harmony. Thus we multiply 6 times this wheel by 2, then that summation is multiplied again by 2. And the subtle form or discipline is understood by the 16th portion divided by the each half of the half when it is divided by 8. Hence the yogina who restrains effortfully the pranachara becomes the victim of it respectively. By the eating of vital force, attaining the state of Kalashakti respectively, there arises supreme consciousness. When the divergence of knowledge is wiped out, the yogina attains the supreme light concerning to enlightenment completely. Thus, at the non-rising of new pranachara, there exists no difference of knowledge, which arises from the difference of time. The knowledge does not be different, even the difference of samavedi exists, as in the mountain knowledge. Because time is the cause of the difference, and it is considered as subtle moment. The limit of its subtlety is knowledge. The moment is one till the one knowledge. Otherwise it can be analyzed by the skilled person too. How much knowledge should be attained? The answer is required as much as we don't feel the crisis of it. The crisis of it does not rise until the junction of sense and object or the nowhere arise. If that arise which corresponds, it differently tends to the vital force. Therefore it does not exist in the absence of pranaspanda, the throb of vital force. By the absence of that, the absence of science too does not exist. That is the same intellect. By the apohana of time divergence, the intellect is not actually long. That's why it does not touch the supreme time actually. So the sum supreme consciousness, even it's devoid of thought constructive, is called the ideation, for it does think in several forms about several matter forms. So there exists the same big thought construct by imagining diverse object until the other vibration arises. Those who do not consider so do not attain siddhi of ideation, exist in their minds. Never exists one single ideation in three worlds. The knowledge is called ideation, for it is consonant with the word, and it goes respectively. Those who is making ideation of whom? Ideation such as sport cannot appear, so there exists no question of its staying. Nor any ideation stay in one matra. There cannot be the existence of knowledge group, for they do not exist together. Therefore, this behavior arises out of ideation, came to an end. So one single science can touch cross religion of ideation until next vibration arises. That's why the ideation offers the state of Shiva, which possesses a generous power consisting of 81 letters. This has been said earlier. When one desires to let move both the ears and it moved by effort, similarly by the effort in chara of the will, there arises intellect, which is chakra gamini. Therefore, there is a system of vital harmony in context of japa, homa, archana, etc. The Lord says this is in Siddha Tantra and Yoginikava Tantra that the power of Kundalini is pranasham and umana. The knower of sacred syllables attains fruit in chanting by making category of power principle in the words and cycles of syllables. One should not attain pranachara from 2, 3, 7, 8 up to 100. Thus one should always add the sacred verse which focus on cycle of knowledge by considering this as power established in the body of those into the chants. The sacred hymns do not attain siddhi even 1 crore times, which have not been added and chanted with the arising priya, nityadita, mahatva and udartha and continual paths of power. There has been set an arrangement of upamsha japa, chanting of sacred syllable in such ways that only can listen the sound of the uttered syllable. All manas are present in all series of hymns. The aspirant must change the mantra always, which can be purified by the power in the mantras where pada is prominent, in which by the order of Tripadokti one can attain the rise of vital force in this pada, converted into the 12 pada, when multiplied by 12 becomes the rising cycle of 144. When added by 6 cycles it becomes 150. When it is multiplied by 144 becomes 20,000, 1,600, 21,600. A healthy man attains such pranachara in 20 hours. When Adasha chakra is multiplied by 12 becomes 192. It is called to 1012 with half of hour, far. When the 16th pada cycle called Adasa is multiplied by 16, there arise 84 pranachara. It contains 256 cycles. What has been said in Chakradaya beneficial for the aspirant? The aspirant attains the state of rest by restraining human tendencies and again takes rest after his state of awakening. During this period there happens the rise of one pranachara. In this state of complete awakening there are shaped 3 times pravesha, atnya and nirgam. Among these the middle arising is considered as the best for achievement. The yogin is devoid of the rise of beginning and end, attached with the middle rise and knowledgeable is the mantra Vidyachara attains Siddhi. That is said in Vimshatikatrika Shastra that one who knows the rise of mantra chakra and knowledgeable in the meaning of Vidya chakra attains Siddhi in a little time. The yogina does the chant always by uniting the rise of principle regularly with 2, 3 or 4 mantras and by pouring and dissociate matters. One should not make powerful the mantra of Vidya or chakra, which consists of numerous letters. In that there exists a vibhaga ends with Aum Namah. So on this rising of principles there are 3 vibhaga of Aharata, and then which vibhaga is distributed 3 times. When the yogina get ecstasy from the night, next by resting in the mid-rise and enter by the yoga of half and half, there exists half pranacharas of that, and when the stand of complete rise gleams in these 3 pravisha, Vishranti and Vasa equally, this 1/3 portion arise. Here the expansion of time is existed in the vital force. This vital force is existed in the throb in the void, and the void in the principle of consciousness. Therefore, since the creation and dissolution of void exist, the supreme consciousness, the uniformity of the numbers of throbs is actual in the path of power. It is said in Manivijaya Tantra that is the best element arise as distortion anywhere in the body. Since time exists in vital force and body in the vital force, so is considered that its form exists in the body. The gross sushik eventually exists in the tendencies of consciousness, throb and vital force, gets expansion by forming itself as nadi. This is why it is said in Swachanda Tantra that as leaf expanded by its reeds, similarly the body expanded by nadis in main subdued relation. From the sum of leg to the upper end place of Brahma, all the existing time is in 84 fingers. It's considered from 12 to 108 in 96 fingers of Dvadashanta. Some subtle time exists respectively. In this body between the creation and dissolution of vital force move in the middle path, all creation and dissolution take place. And these are amazing by the order of a difference. Hence, this is described by me as the Chakradhara, the rise of cycle, which can be known by subtle advice from the viewpoint of experienced Shiva Adama. Om.